Mayor Rebecca Casper delivered her annual State of the City address.
Always exciting.
Karley, can you believe the very first thing she did was thank us?
Yes. I mean, can you blame her?
We want to recognize our gracious hosts, the Greater Idaho Falls Association of Realtors. Thank you for providing such a lovely venue and hosting us today.
So us meaning the local Realtors Association.
Of course. What else would we have meant?
Of which we are proud members. If you need to sell your home this spring, summer, let us know. 208-970-8250. Mike Helps Idaho, Lincoln Post. We'd be happy to talk to you. Mm-hmm. It's also her last year in office.
Yeah. Can you believe?
On a personal note, I'm entering into my 12th year, and it's my final year of service as mayor. Therefore, this will be my last formal State of the City address. And as you might imagine, preparing for these remarks has made me a little bit reflective. And so one of the things that I ask myself is, why do I love Idaho Falls? The reasons are too numerous to count. But I will tell you this. One of my love languages is action, acts of service. And like many of you, I show my love for Idaho Falls by giving my time to this community. Something interesting about service is that the inverse is also true. You can show love through service, a love language, but the inverse is true. If you want to love something, serve it.
So I really like what she said there. If you love something, serve it.
Yeah, I think we try to do that.
I kind of feel like in some small way here on IFAF, we do serve the community.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, thank you and welcome to all of our new friends from Reddit, some of which did say that they wouldn't even know what was going on in the city if it weren't for us. So
then she moves on to public transportation.
GIFT, G-I-F-T, Greater Idaho Falls Transit. GIFT has proven to be one of the best initiatives we have ever launched. Since its inception, GIFT has provided 234,000 rides, including 91,000 in 2024 alone. Over 40,000 of those rides directly benefited seniors, and more than 3,000 served U.S. veterans. The average wait time for the on-demand rides has hit a record low of 16 minutes. But you also have the option of scheduling it. And if you schedule, then it should be on time. The scheduled rides boast an impressive 98% on-time rate. And the service continues to grow steadily. GIFT's customer satisfaction speaks volumes. They have a 4.8 star average rating. This success has attracted key community sponsorships, but they still need more. The sponsorships help to keep costs down. Right now, the average price for a ride is $4. In 2024, GIFT earned multiple grants and awards, including a safety grant that funded safe holiday rides, and that supported first responders, right? There were fewer drivers on the road who shouldn't have been on the road. But the crowning achievement of last year was GIFT's induction into the Idaho Transportation Department's Hall of Fame for innovation in public transit. So moving on to the airport. In 2024, we made exciting progress at IDA. Now, the official name is Idaho Falls Regional Airport, but IDA is that three-letter sign that they use for identifying our airport, so I just call it IDA all the time.
Yeah, if you don't know your airport codes, it makes it a lot harder to Google when you're planning a flight.
yes.
You should know your airport codes.
Yeah.
Or at least the major ones around us. You know, DEN for Denver, SEA for SeaTac. Isn't Salt Lake SLC?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I know that LA is LAX.
Yep.
ORD, Chicago, ATL, Atlanta.
Or at the very least, know how to Google it.
DFW, Dallas, Fort Worth, all the major hubs. You just end up learning anyway.
Right.
Alaska Airlines added a year-round flight to Seattle in 2024, and United did the same for a Denver route. So we already had existing routes, but they added additional flights. Larger planes now serve some of Delta's Salt Lake City routes, and so now you might be able to fit something in the overhead baggage compartment. Allegiant will begin offering year-round service to Portland this year, and Allegiant is also going to launch twice weekly flights to Denver. So if you like the Allegiant model and those rates, you have a few more options here. All of this growth comes with some challenges. Our airport is overdue for some very significant upgrades. Behind the scenes, staff work in cramped spaces that are ill-suited for the volume of luggage that they have to process. The lobby needs to be enlarged to accommodate more ticket counters and office space. There are some significant but hidden structural elements like ductwork and support beams that have to be addressed as we do this next phase of expansion. We're going to go ahead and start the not very sexy infrastructure upgrades this spring. So you will see some construction going on. Just don't expect anything flashy out of it. Let's move on to Pancary Bridge. A quarter of our population, it's said, uses Pan-Carry Bridge and lives on the west side there. So many of you were probably impacted. Pan-Carry Bridge received some much-needed maintenance and upgrades in 2024. We were able to fund that with a State of Idaho grant for $2.8 million. The sidewalk widening improvements on the north side of the structure are going to be tended to this spring, summer. But when it's done, those sidewalks will not be narrow and scary. I remember once getting on there because I had a baby in back and I was driving on it and thinking, I'm going to go off the road.
Yeah, they're going to widen those sidewalks on Pan-Carry so you won't have terrifying traffic coming at you or from behind you, wondering if you're going to go off the sidewalk like she did.
Probably a good thing.
She talked about the Meppen Canal.
We dedicated the Meppen Canal Trail System this past summer. That provides over 2 miles of multi-use pathway between the Idaho Canal Pathway all the way to 25th East near the College of Eastern Idaho.
And then, of course, the water tower.
Nobody's ever heard of the water tower project, I'm sure. But in 2025, we will complete the construction of the new water tower and put it into use. Coinciding with that will be the respectful demolition and thoughtful commemoration of the existing tower. If that's something you love, and we heard that a lot of people loved the existing tower, plan to show your love for that tower several times over this coming year.
So it sounds like they are going to demolish the old water tower.
Yeah. You know, I feel a little heartbroken by that because I feel like we got teased a little before. Because it seemed like someone had said that they were going to do something special with it.
Well, they are having an art installation that's going to pay homage to not just this water tower, but the other water towers from the last, 110 years?
Right, but no one cares about those. This is the only good one.
And she alluded to more.
Yeah.
Then she talks about Idaho Falls Fiber.
The city's community-owned fiber network reached a major milestone in 2024 with the completion of its citywide build-out. We are no longer constructing the infrastructure needed for fiber. What started as a pilot project, which was announced in October of 2019, has in under 5 years covered the entire city, making it the largest open access network in Idaho. So if you want Idaho Falls fiber service, you just have to make a phone call and get scheduled to get connected. Nobody has to build anything to bring it to you because we've built it already.
We highly recommend Idaho Falls Fiber, and we highly recommend QuickNet, QWK.net. My friend Quinn over there has been at it for 30 years or more.
Right.
Before QuickNet even existed. Mm-hmm. He knows his stuff, and he is dedicated. They're the best local provider by far, in our humble opinion. And let's face it, our opinion is never humble. Let's move on to Idaho Falls Power.
In 2024, Idaho Falls Power secured $3 million in grant funding from DOE, the Department of Energy, to expand EV infrastructure in Idaho Falls. This spring, we're going to construct 16 DC fast charging stations. That's nice if you're in a hurry. And 8 level 2, those are the regular stations. And we're going to do that at 4 key locations throughout the city. Increasingly, people who buy hybrids and electric vehicles will get online and try to figure out where can they stop. And we're going to have even more stops to offer them. Idaho Falls Power is also investing $44 million in the peaking plant and research park that we're building out on property that the city owns on Iona Road. The peaking plant is a power generation facility that will deliver 17.5 megawatts of on-demand energy during peak usage times. It saves us from having to go out on the open market and buy energy when we're peaking, everybody else is, and the price is peaking. Now we're going to be able to produce our own peaking energy, and it saves us from having to pay top dollar anymore. It'll pay for itself in a very short amount of time. The facility will be wholly owned by Idaho Falls Power customers and ratepayers. Public power is what that's called. We own it. I love public power because we don't have to pay dividends to shareholders. Construction began this past August, and the plant is expected to be in operation before the end of this year.
Here she is on the IFPD and the IFFD.
Moving on to public safety. The police department had some milestones this year. As many of you know, they moved into their new building on North 8 Mile this past year. This is the first standalone police facility in the 160-year history of the city. Not only did the project come in on time and under budget, you gotta love that, it's also an award-winning building. The IFPD received the Bronze Medal from Police One for the design of the building. I'll move on to the fire department. One of the coolest and most moving moments in 2024 was dedicating the 9/11 memorial at Fire Station Number 1. And I love the feeling of reflection when you go there and you see this beautiful sort of wall of water. And so if you haven't gone, I invite you to visit that memorial. In the coming year, the IFFD expects to break ground on a new station that'll be called Station Number 6, and it'll be located just off of 15th East. I think the street that's just off of that it's called Spitfire. Fire station on Spitfire.
And Leslie Knope and Ron Swanson and the whole crew from Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec is always one of the city's busiest departments. They really the sun never goes down on the Parks and Rec department. This year was no exception. Progress was made on several fronts. They rebuilt the Toppeth Park tennis courts from the dirt on up. They purchased pickleball courts for off-season use in the ice arena. They replaced the hardwood gymnasium floor in the rec center. They placed sod and broke ground on restrooms at Heritage Park. They built and opened the ADA restroom at the all-access playground in Toppeth Park. And the same kinds of things will continue happening in 2025. Traffic flow in Toppeth Park will be improved. The Funland Log Hut will be open to the public, offering a side of nostalgia with your burgers and fries. Additional canal trails will be built, and the Toppeth Park perimeter pathway will be opened. The zoo's Hamilton building, they've been remodeling that for a few years. But when it opens and you hear about it, take the kids or the grandkids. They're going to love it. It feels like a Disney theme experience there. Parks and Rec staff decorated downtown for the holiday season. They also put a lot of effort into trying to enhance the downtown tree lighting ceremony. This year's was the best ever, in my opinion. And then also, the second annual UTV Light Parade was a raging success again this year. We had many more participants, and it emerged as one of the largest UTV light parades in the country. And I'm thinking, how many UTV light parades are there in the country?
Wasn't the UTV Light Parade just so baller this year?
It was pretty cool.
And huge, hundreds. 400-ish.
Yeah.
Hey, Hallmark Channel Christmas movie, if you do another one based in Idaho Falls, you gotta have this in it.
Yeah, that feels
UTV
quintessentially
Light
Idaho
Parade.
Falls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of those, why didn't we think of this before?
Yeah, maybe then they won't have to constantly keep saying the name of the city.
And by the way, if you're hearing any of these things and you're thinking, where'd we get the money? She mentions a lot of federal grants that we got, like for the airport.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, like we're getting a lot of help here. Same with public library.
The Idaho Falls Public Library celebrated the 10th anniversary in 2024 of the very popular Extreme Book Nerd programs. They have them for both the youth and the adults. And I love this little fact, and that is that even in this electronic age, usage of our library continues to increase. Every year I read this and I'm thinking, how? But we had a 12.6% increase in circulation of library materials in 2024. In 2025, the library is going to open a drive-through pickup for library materials, making it even easier for parents to swing by on the way to or from work. So if you've got a bunch of kids in the car and you don't want to get them all out and into the library because you'll never get them back into the car to go home, you can just go through the drive-through, get your big bag of kid books, and keep driving.
A drive-through library pickup is brilliant, by the way.
Another one of those, why didn't we think of this before?
Yeah.
Ideas.
So smart.
And then I love that she mentions this.
Idaho Falls broke into the top 10 in the Milken Institute's Best Performing Small Cities Index. You see that prior to 2020, we were 64th, 69th, 64th, 24th. We were, as you can see from this, number one in 2021, 23, and 24. But in 22, we dropped out of number one and went to 5th. And we just got the results yesterday. We have moved to 3rd place for this year. The number one slot this year went to Gainesville, Georgia. And that's a city that has been in the top 10 way longer than Idaho Falls, and they've never been number one. They've always been hovering in the top 10, but they finally had their day. So why do we care about a ranking? As my dad would say, there are a lot of 2-bit rankings out there. Anyone can make a list to sell a magazine.
Did the mayor just unintentionally throw shade at the Post-Register Reader's Choice Awards and Best of Greater Idaho Falls Awards by saying anyone can make a list to sell magazines?
It kind of seemed like it to me. Oof.
Thought so. We're not the only ones.
Yeah.
But the Milken research is highly substantive, and it's based on solid measurable indicators like labor market performance, GDP, high-tech industries, households with broadband, affordable housing, income equality or inequality, community resilience. The research is premised on the assumption that cities are the economic engines for this country. And that's something I wholeheartedly believe, and I wish more state legislators appreciated that. Our ranking, I think we fell because between 2022 and 2023, we fell in one of the categories all the way to 158th. And that category was wage growth. Wage growth slowed in Idaho Falls significantly in that time frame. And that really, dragged down our total.
Did you hear that, local employers? Because I'm pretty sure what the mayor just said is we could be number one in the Milken Institute Best Performing Small Cities Index, like we were in 21, 22, and 23, but you're not paying our laborers enough.
I think that's exactly what you heard, Mike. That sounds right to me.
Let's catch up. If you pay more, they will come.
Right?
See how that works?
Well, and rent and mortgages sure aren't the same as they were in the 90s either.
And then she closes with this.
So my fellow citizens, as I say every year, and I've said it every year since 2017, the state of our city is strong, and Idaho Falls' future continues to be very bright. And I couldn't be more proud to be a part of this great community. Thank you for letting me have this opportunity to serve the city that I love.
Idaho Falls Mayor Rebecca Casper, well done. Her final State of the City address. We just love you so much. We fully support you. Thank you for all of your acts of service.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned earlier. Well done, thou good and faithful public servant.